Oh my god. I thought this was a classy party.
Hello everyone, welcome and welcome back to my channel, and today we are going to be talking about the fall of tumblr.com. So get a drink, get a snack, make yourselves comfortable. This is going to be a fun one and I'm excited. Okay, so I started thinking about this topic when I started realizing that all of the social media sites want us to pay for something, and I saw this coming because capitalism. This whole free thing, well, I know ads still count, but this whole using stuff for free, that wasn't gonna last much longer. But I didn't expect that all of them would be doing it at the same time. So everybody's trying to become Patreon, and I don't know how I feel about that. So with Twitter, we have Twitter Blue, where they're trying to make us pay for bookmarks and exclusive tweets, and I'm just like, I see what you all post for free, so I don't know if I want to subject myself to seeing what's behind closed doors. I don't know what I don't think that's gonna do anything for me. So that's with Twitter. With Instagram is like 2 clicks away from becoming the Facebook marketplace, but instead of the demographic being white soccer moms, it's everybody else. YouTube is starting this whole super thanks thing where you can sort of kind of tip creators. I don't know when that's going to be implemented, but I think it might be soon. So that's it. They're all doing different things with exclusive content, once again trying to be Patreon. I don't think that it's going to work though. So while I was seeing all of this, I come across this article that says that Tumblr is now going to be charging for exclusive content. And I don't know if y'all have seen the Soulja Boy meme where he goes, Drake? That was my reaction, but instead it was Tumblr?
These niggas, yeah, Drake? Drake?
Because I use Tumblr still. I do. But because I use Tumblr, nobody's paying for Tumblr. But then again, they might have something, because the executives are saying that a lot of the people who use Tumblr now are Gen Z. And I can see it working in that regard. It's the same thing, like everything that used to be popular is coming back now. So people who didn't have experience with Tumblr before, I'm guessing that that's the audience that they are targeting, and a lot of younger people now tend to favor exclusive content. So I believe the base price is at $3.99 and then it caps off at $9.99, and they're going to be posting like audio, video, text, basically anything you want. So basically Patreon, that's what it's going to be, but on Tumblr. So with all of this information, I was like, okay, it's getting to look like battle of the streaming sites. So with Amazon Prime, Netflix, HBO Max, who else is there? Hulu, Disney Plus, that's what it's starting to feel like. But all in all, I started to think about 2014 Tumblr. And if you were not present for 2014 Tumblr, let me tell you, what a time. What a time to be alive. You just had to be there to experience it, but I'm gonna try my best to explain to you the things that were going on. Tumblr is kind of like Twitter in a way. Hear me out. It's kind of like Twitter because once you're in the part of Tumblr that you're in, you don't really see what goes on outside of it. My timeline is curated to the things that I want to see, and it was kind of like Tumblr was kind of like that in a way, like the predecessor to Twitter. When did Twitter come out? Not sure, but Tumblr's been out since 2007. So that was kind of how it went. So the things that you want to see, you have on your Tumblr. So this is going to be exclusive to my experience. I know a lot of people have a negative experience of Tumblr, and I know, but my experience was kind of overall positive. I was about 13, 14 in 20, no. I was 13 in 2014, I believe, I think. 13 or 14, and that was like the heyday of Tumblr. 2014 Tumblr, 2013 Tumblr is the height. That was when Tumblr was the social media darling of the internet. And my experience using Tumblr is I was just there for the music. Now, there were certain musical acts that were the staple of Tumblr at the time. Don't judge me. I was 13, 14, and this is what I was listening to. Lana Del Rey, Born to Die. I can hear people taking out their headphones already and clicking the X button. Just hear me out. I can't make the songs on Born to Die not bop. I can't. I would be lying if I said that Born to Die was not a good album. Did I think it strange that this white woman was glamorizing the 60s? Yes, I did. Did I think it weird that she did not have a Latinx relative, but she was walking around calling herself Lana Del Rey when her government name is Lizzie Grant, Elizabeth Grant? I thought it was weird, but those were questions that my 13-year-old brain did not know the answer to, and I was happy living in the moment, okay? But I was out here listening to Lana Del Rey, the 1975 album. When the girls tried to make us feel bad for liking the album because Maddie was on drugs when he wrote it, and then Maddie had to come out and say let the people like good music, and y'all hated the song Girls, but Girls was a good song. Girls is a good song, and y'all were just miserable. Y'all have been miserable from time. But we're not gonna get into that. So that album was phenomenal. Arctic Monkeys AM, that Arctic Monkeys album. Even today, not many are seeing her, I'm afraid. It's just, and was I supposed to be singing I Wanna Be Yours at 13 years old? No, I wasn't. But I also grew up in the Caribbean where we listened to dancehall and soca. There were a lot of things that I wasn't supposed to be doing, but I did them anyways. So we have to live and let live. Halsey also got her footing in Tumblr, but by the time that album came out in 2016, I think I was off of Tumblr, or I was just about getting ready to be done. But I say that to say I was in the Tumblr trenches. Not as deep in the trenches as some of you were, because I know that Tumblr was horrendous for some people, because I hear people complaining about Twitter all the time. But if I look at people's stories when it comes to Tumblr, you can make the argument that Tumblr was kind of maybe a little bit worse than Twitter, because Tumblr was just the Wild Wild West. The Tumblr was lawless. But I say that to say I knew the general landscape of Tumblr. I didn't stan any of these people. The first and last group that I will ever stan, that happened in 2017. But after Tumblr, I didn't actively participate online until 2020 when I got onto Twitter. But that's a whole nother story by itself. The one thing I quite never understood about Tumblr was the Tumblr girl aesthetic. Well, I understood it, but it could have never been me. And I also realized that I'm going to talk about different periods of the internet with regards to women. So the Tumblr girl, the Instagram girl. And I realized that there's something there because people are so hyper focused on what women do on the internet, and they act like men and boys don't use the internet as well. So there's that. I haven't seen the iteration of the TikTok girl yet, so hopefully we're getting out of that. But I think that's important because there's the Tumblr girl, the Instagram model, and hopefully we don't see another. Hopefully that's the last of that. If you were not on Tumblr in 2014, then you have no idea what the Tumblr girl aesthetic was. And this is a very large overgeneralization, but I want you to think hipster, flower crowns, festival attire that often bordered on cultural appropriation and the appropriation of native cultures. I want you to think white. I want you to think thin. This is this is like a generalized statement, but that's kind of what you got. There's this meme usually that happens around the fall of like the fall white girls and like that kind of aesthetic. That's exactly what you need to think about. There were the grunge girls, there were the hipster girls, there were the goth girls, but essentially speaking, that was the Tumblr girl aesthetic. Think bright and airy with a live, laugh, love placard in the background. I often think of 2014 Tumblr as the Wild Wild West because there was absolutely no regulation whatsoever. And a large part of it, something that I think we don't talk about enough, is that the girls were sad. The girls were sad and depressed, and the girls would post to their 10,000 followers. I know that it doesn't seem a lot at this point, but back in the day, 10,000 followers on Tumblr was a lot. And there were just these young girls getting online saying how sad they were, how depressed they were, how their lives were completely trash and brutal. And you would have all of these young girls following them, echoing those sentiments. and ED Tumblr. I don't even want to get into ED Tumblr because I feel like that's a whole other video on its own. But if you weren't careful on Tumblr, you could end up in an echo chamber of people just spouting the same thoughts, and then if you weren't careful, you could get lost and there was no way of coming back out. And I know that that sounds like the internet today, but the culture on Tumblr, it was bad. I know that there's an ED side of Twitter now, and a lot of people have compared it to ED Tumblr in the past, but I feel like on Twitter, there's more of a call out and more of a reaction to it. On Tumblr, it seems that that's all anybody was doing. I feel like it was so integral to the site, and it's weird that people don't bring it up when they talk about these things. But I mean, just look at the albums that I just listed off. Born to Die, AM, the 1975. They're all great albums, and I still think so, but they all have a common thread and a common theme, which is kind of sort of depression. Well, probably not AM, but the 1975 and Born to Die, those have very specific themes to them, and that was the theme of Tumblr. But I guess it was also freeing at the same time, because you would have all of these people agreeing that their lives were horrible and they were trying to find community. But if in the community all anyone talks about is the negative, and you don't bring up some aspect, okay, we feel like this, how can we make it better? If there's no voice like that, then you just end up in this echo chamber of negativity, and you won't be able to get out. There's a lot of reasons as to why Tumblr fell off, but I like to classify those reasons as the Instagram model in 2 words. So like the structure of Instagram and the progression of the internet that I don't think Tumblr actually tried to catch up to, and the actual Instagram model. So if you remember, a lot of people like to talk about the decline being the adult content ban, let's just say that. But I think a lot was happening before then, and the adult content ban was just like a nail in the coffin. In 2013, Yahoo bought Tumblr for $1.1 billion. I don't remember the specific verbiage. They either bought it for 1.1 billion or Tumblr's value was 1.1 billion. That probably means the same thing, but just to be clear. So they bought it for 1.1 billion in 2013. And then WordPress, or the company that owns WordPress, bought Tumblr for $3 million in 2019. How many years is it? From 2013 to 2019. That's like 6 years, 6 to 7 years. The fact that your company can go from being a $1 billion corporation to about $3 million in the span of 6 years, that's wild, and that's crazy to me. So if you don't know about the adult content ban, what happened is that Apple in 2018 removed Tumblr from the Apple Store because there were there were depictions of children in situations that a child should never be in, disgusting situations that children should never be in under any circumstances. So there was that on Tumblr, and instead of targeting those posts specifically, they decided to do a cut on all adult content. So this is what they updated their terms of service to. Images, videos, or GIFs that show real-life human genitals or female presenting nipples, because you need to have the female in there. This includes content that is so photorealistic that it could be mistaken for featuring real-life humans. I understand the extreme approach, but also, if you are on Tumblr was just very aesthetic adult content. Even when I was like 14, 15, the only thing that I saw on there was a black and gray nipple while scrolling through the feed, but then again, adult content wasn't a part of my Tumblr ecosphere, so that could have been it. That's probably why I didn't see anything, but that was the extent for me. And what started happening is that blogs that weren't even associated with adult content just started getting taken down, because it's like an algorithm. It's a computers get things wrong, and then people's blogs were just being shut down for no reason. That just encouraged more and more people leaving the site. That was the mass exodus. I feel like people started trickling out slowly because other platforms started becoming available. Platforms like Instagram. So let's talk about Instagram. Let's talk about these things, because I feel that Tumblr did a complete disservice. I don't know if it was cocky. I don't know if they felt like their audience wouldn't leave them. I don't know if they felt like they were unique, that they didn't start upping their game when they realized all of these new social networking platforms were coming out. They just kept going down. Tumblr was created in 2007, and that feels like such a lifetime ago. That's like more than 10 years ago. But around that time, the internet was a very different place. At that time, people were still very wary of it. You didn't give out your information online at all. You didn't tell people where you were from. Everything was very, very anonymous, and anonymity did not work for things like Instagram. Instagram wanted you to put yourself out there. Instagram wanted you to put your pictures out there, your friends out there, your life out there. Anonymity just did not work. And this is why in a lot of cases, like, the pendulum doesn't stay on one side for very long, because while the girls on Tumblr were saying, hey, we're sad, these are our real emotions, the girls on Instagram were just like, we're happy, we're giving you the highlight reels, we're giving you our best pictures, we're giving you our best filters, we're giving you the best edits. We don't want any of that shit over here. You cannot bring your ghetto over here. I can't, like, it was two different worlds. So a lot of people were jumping ship from Tumblr to Instagram, and now on Instagram you could get paid. The girls were on Tumblr being sad, but on Instagram they could get paid for being happy. And so there still wasn't that much diversity on Instagram. There still isn't that much diversity on Instagram. Or the people who get pushed and promoted on Instagram, it isn't very diverse. But it's through in comparison to Tumblr, you can notice the difference. And Instagram still has to answer for its plastic surgery filters that made everybody want to look like those people from the clan with the capital K. But that's a topic for another video that we're just not going to get into today. Tumblr has always been about headcanons and shipping and gifts, and the other apps were just miles ahead of them, and they were doing what Tumblr was doing on other platforms, and then Tumblr wasn't providing the girls what everybody else was doing. So it was kind of a natural death and a natural decline, and they didn't do anything to stop it. And in my final thoughts, I do believe that Tumblr can make a comeback, but the executives have to be very, very smart about it. If you market it to Gen Z as something new and revolutionary, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to do something with it, but please don't let it go down the roads that it once did. So that's number one. If they play their cards right, I see something happening. It's not going to return to its former glory, but I see something happening in those regards. The only thing that has me wary, the only thing that has me on edge is, and maybe I'll talk about this in an actual video, but eating disorder Tumblr, ED Tumblr, I see, it's the same thing with Twitter. I see what gets posted on there for free, and I'm afraid that it's only going to get worse when you ask people to pay to access these blogs. And you might say, you can do that on any platform. You can do that on Patreon. You can do that anywhere. And you would be right, but like, I don't know how to explain it to you. ED culture, all of that was so integral to Tumblr, and I know that they started doing, so when you would look up things like thinspo, they would have like a warning, and then they would be like, if you need help, call this and this number. And I thought it's great that they're doing that, and they're still doing that, but I fear if they can get that under control, then I think it would be better, and they would be headed on the right track. But anyways, that was a video for today. I hope you had fun, and I hope you have a very, very beautiful day. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Bye.